Reincarnation, multiversal simulation theory, and the Oversoul. What's really going on? A unified theory of reality across mysticism, metaphysics, and consciousness science. Cayce, Gnosticism, and quantum physics say the same thing. Have you ever felt like your life was a single thread in a vast web of possibilities? A unique storyline, yet one of many woven from the same source? Perhaps you've sensed that somewhere, some version of you made a different choice, stayed instead of left, forgave instead of resented, remembered instead of forgot. Modern physics supports this intuition. According to the many worlds interpretation, MWI, of quantum mechanics, every decision creates a new timeline. Every possible outcome doesn't disappear, it branches, unfolding in its own version of reality. A multiverse, blooming with infinite paths. Now consider this. What if we're not just passive observers in these timelines, but active participants in a simulation designed to evolve consciousness? This is the proposition of simulation theory and thinkers like Campbell, whose big toe, theory of everything, describes reality as a virtual learning environment created by a larger consciousness system, a platform for growth through experience, feedback, and choice. Pair that with the mystical insights of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, who described the soul as journeying through lifetimes to refine itself and return to its divine origin. Like branches of an ancient tree, each life is a limb reaching for light, growing from the same root. So if all timelines already exist, why reincarnate? Why live out this version with its heartbreaks and blind spots when some other you already succeeded elsewhere? To understand this, we must first meet the one behind the curtain, the Oversoul. Known by many names, the higher self, the Atman, the monad, or in Campbell's model, the individuated unit of consciousness, IUOC, the Oversoul is your true self beyond the avatar. It is not confined to time, space, or identity. It is the you that remembers, not by clinging to every detail, but by integrating the essence of experience across lives, timelines, and realms. In Gnostic thought, it is the pneuma, the divine spark emanated from an Aeon, a higher spiritual being within the pleroma, the fullness of source. This pneuma becomes immersed in matter, entering the realms of form in order to awaken through lived experience and recover its connection to the divine origin it came from. This Oversoul, higher self, monad, Atman, Aeon exists outside of time and space, not as a vague abstraction, but as a conscious presence beyond the rendered reality. Just as a gamer exists outside the screen, it remains outside the simulation, observing and engaging without being bound by it. In Cayce's view, the soul originates from a spiritual plane where all lives, past, present, and future, are already known. This mirrors the Gnostic concept of the pleroma, the realm of divine fullness, where all true knowledge and being reside outside of time. Just as the pleroma contains the aeons and the pure essence of the soul before its descent, Cayce's spiritual plane is a dimension of complete awareness and unity. In simulation theory, time and space are variables generated by a rendering engine, a mechanism that dynamically generates experience based on the observer's focus. Its Gnostic counterpart would be the structural domain projected by the Demiurge, a false but convincing overlay crafted through illusion, separation, and boundary. Where the rendering engine governs digital constraints, the Demiurge governs ontological limitation. In Campbell's model, the Oversoul exists in a non-physical data space, evolving not in seconds and minutes, but in levels of coherence and love by reducing internal entropy. Each IUOC, each Oversoul, logs into the system to play what we might call a game of consciousness. The larger consciousness system, LCS, is the server, the platform, and each Oversoul uses a user profile to enter the game through an avatar, These avatars, much like video game characters, are custom-built vessels shaped for the simulation's specific rule set. They are not the Oversoul itself, but expressions of it, designed for focused participation in the game of limitation. It is not in time. It observes time. It is not in the world. It generates experiences through it. It navigates not the physical realm, but the rendered environment, a simulated world structured to appear solid and deterministic, but ultimately illusory. This illusion is not accidental. Within the Gnostic tradition, the Archons are like in-game rule enforcers, gatekeepers who uphold the simulation's mechanics. They maintain the illusion of separation, ego, and material distraction, not inherently evil, but part of the design that challenges the soul's ability to remember. The simulation's architect is the Demiurge, not a god of pure malevolence, but a flawed creator who overlays the world with a counterfeit structure, a sandbox of distorted laws meant to mimic truth, but devoid of its fullness. The Oversoul does not descend to be trapped by this. It descends to see through it. Each incarnation, then, is a deliberate act. The Oversoul chooses a timeline, crafts an avatar, and enters the realm of the Demiurge, not to be lost, but to remember itself. Like selecting a quest in an expansive game, each life is a mission shaped with purpose. Challenges are seeded not at random, but with intent. The systems, structures, and trials we face, from fear to conflict to longing, are part of the archonic architecture, designed to provoke awareness. The Oversoul doesn't overcome by brute force. It evolves by waking up within the dream, navigating the simulation with discernment, courage, and love. And here, simulation theory, Gnosticism, Cayce's mysticism, and Campbell's toe converge. The Gnostics called it Gnosis, the awakening of divine memory. Cayce called it the return to oneness through the refinement of karma. Campbell calls it entropy reduction, becoming more coherent, loving, and integrated. All describe the same process, consciousness returning to source through experience. These avatars, these lifetimes, allow the Oversoul to collapse infinite potential into lived experience. Each descent into the simulation is a refining fire, not a punishment, a pilgrimage. Even if every version of every life is rendered somewhere in the multiverse, only one is chosen for focused embodiment. Because growth does not come from observing all possibilities at once, it comes from living one with intention. Think of the simulation as Netflix. Every film is available, but you only stream one at a time. You don't grow from sampling every frame. You grow from immersing yourself in one full story. The Oversoul does the same. It selects a timeline, enters it, and plays it through. Later, it may revisit others. But evolution happens through full presence, not omniscient skimming. Other timelines exist, but they are not integrated. They are rendered but not lived. So why reincarnate if all timelines exist? Because each incarnation is a unique opportunity, a thread of light in the labyrinth, a sacred puzzle piece in the Oversoul's return to wholeness. This is the harmony between physics and mysticism, science and soul. Superposition is potential. Reincarnation is participation. Karma is feedback. Entropy is the measure. And gnosis, true knowledge, is what consciousness earns by daring to descend, experience, and remember. You are not just a character in the game. You are the player behind the avatar, the light in the maze, the spark in the code. And you are here for a reason. To awaken, to integrate, to evolve. One life, one lesson, one timeline at a time. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe for future video uploads.